Good evening, and here are today's tropics for the very tail end of September 11th, 2019. Here I have Invest 94L, uh, right, well, not right here, but this is pretty much all the convection that's actually associated with it right now. There isn't really much of a circulation unlike yesterday, and you can see it's really getting sheared quite badly from the west. And you can see that the convection here just gets sheared off right when it tries to form. Essentially, there's no real chance of formation here in Invest 94L, so there's not much to look at. Now we're really going to be focusing on Invest 95L, and since there are some impacts that there's potential impacts from this system, I'd like to remind you that I'm not a meteorologist, and this video is just an opinion of mine, and any decision making you should leave to your local officials or National Hurricane Center. So here we got Invest 94 or 95L, and there's three main convective bursts: one north of Cuba's very east coast, one north of Hispaniola, and one a bit near to the end of the frame on the northeast. This one seems to be brought on from convergence between an earlier outflow boundary at surface, which allowed convection to blossom, and this convective burst here appears to be from the trade wind convergence at the east end of the wave that as trade winds go from easterly more southeasterly. So we've got convergence here, which is allowing this convective burst to form. It's a bit hard to see this one, so I'll go out to the water vapor, and you can see that it seems to be supported by upper divergence. So you can see there's not really much of any flow here, but there's a lot of southwesterly and westerly and northwesterly coming out of here. So it seems that that upper divergence is allowing the air to rise and this convective burst to form. So, there's an upper low you can see right here in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. It's been moving west-southwest pretty rapidly, actually, and it's been kind of backing away a bit from Invest 95L. You can see the trough area coming up here, and another upper low to the northeast of Invest 95L right here. So you can see there is a better defined kind of anticyclone or ridge in loft that is helping support this convection, especially around here, which seems to be in the middle of this envelope, not quite sheared like this one is slightly, and not close to the western end of the envelope that makes this one have a risk to be sheared. So really depends on development, depends like where does the low level center form. Probably not going to form here, but either of these two are really contenders, depending on how long the convection can stick around and how much it can concentrate the broad troughiness into like a more well-defined low-level center. Now this one had a broad area of spin here that seemed to be causing southwesterly winds over eastern Cuba, which supported the idea that there's at least lowering pressures in this area, which is going against the normal sea breeze flow. This suggests that this convective blob may be one that could form in a low-level center, but it's kind of hard to know really right now. And that also does affect the track a lot, because Obviously, if one forms further east, then it might come up and recurve away, or it has more time before reaching any of these land masses and is further from this shear. But this one is, yeah, further west, so you can kind of see where we're going with this. So if we look at the GFS model, credit tropicaltidbits.com, right, this is a few hours ago, about 4 hours ago at 0Z, September 12th. So these are the 200 millibar wind speed. So this is the upper levels. See the upper low right here. It's now backed off a bit around here now, and then what's a trough on here, which is that upper low I showed you, north, more northeast of 95L. So you can see most of it's in relatively weak upper flow. There's a bit of southerly flow right here, and I might switch this to red because for now, because okay, some south-southwesterly flow. But right now, that's not really hitting any of the convection too badly, as you can see, because it's not getting obviously sheared. So we'll note that the GFS doesn't really do much with this. It just kind of, it just kind of has a weak system into the Gulf of Mexico, and sorry about that. It has a weak system into the Gulf of Mexico that doesn't really do much. It gets to 1011 millibars, but it's not really super strong, as you can see. It seems to be taking a more south and west path, which means that it does get closer to this upper low right here, which means that, as you can see here, when the low does form, it's embedded in quite a bit of southerly shear, which means it's probably going to be pretty asymmetric, as weighted more towards the north side, as this will shear all the or at least most of the convection to the north. So as you can see, if the system ends up weaker or starts out further south, then you're going to get a weaker system in general, because it'll be closer to this upper low, which will present a shearing influence on it. However, if it does start to move, or if it does go east, if there's a weaker ridge and or a stronger system that does get steered away from the coast here, it may have a chance to be stronger in this less southerly, or at least weaker upper flow, which won't shear that convection and may allow for it to be more symmetric, which obviously is better for a heat engine like a tropical cyclone. So yeah, as you can see, the strength is quite heavily dependent on where it forms and how strong it gets. So it's a pretty uncertain forecast right now. We really need to get an upper or a low level feature to really get going, so there's something for us in the models to really latch on, and then we can see where it's going to go from there and gauge the strength. Look at the vorticity. It remains pretty strung out as it hits Florida, gets in the Gulf of Mexico, but doesn't really do that much. This is likely due to that shear, which is preventing substantial organization. You can also see from this relative humidity too, that it's not really symmetric. There's some there's a bit of moisture here associated with that upper low, and some over Florida as the southerly fetch from the system, as there is something here at least, even though the GFS has it very weak. There's a southerly fetch from the Caribbean due to this storm at the low levels, which allows for more advection of more humid air and higher dew points. However, there isn't really too much organized like high relative humidity here, which suggests the storm won't have substantial, really, central convection core. Anyway, there's not really too much more to say about the storm for now. There is a wave out near Africa, which got upgraded to have a 40% chance of forming within 5 days. Again, that storm track of that is also uncertain. It's far out, might not form. It's a bit early to look at that right now. I'm trying to mainly focus on Invest 95L. And that's about it for tonight. Thanks for watching.